Hello and welcome back to F1 22 Driver Career Mode. My name is Chris and welcome along to Miami. Last time out, if you haven't checked that video out in Imola, go check it out. It was the first sprint round of the season. We didn't qualify well, but we managed to make good use of that sprint to get ourselves up onto the second row for the start. And ultimately, spoiler alert, we won the Grand Prix. We beat Max Verstappen in the closing laps to bring home a win. Almost binned it on the final lap, but we didn't. We got it over the line in one piece and in the lead. So we are currently leading the championship by 21 points from Perez, with Max Verstappen only 1 point behind his teammate. So definitely in the fight with the Red Bulls at the moment. We've also got to be mindful of McLaren, who seem to be finding a bit more pace in their car. Mercedes and Ferrari seem to be falling off a little bit. Although Ferrari, on paper, should be as fast as us. As you can see, they should actually be a little bit faster than us. But we're just about even with them, but we seem to just be having the race pace over them. So, yeah, looking good for the championship at the moment as we head into Miami. This race for us last time, not a good one. So we're going to be hoping for a better time. Made proper use of the practice sessions, really got to know the track a bit more. Let's see what we can do in qualifying. It's a wet one too, so this is going to be real challenging as we come round to start our first ever lap in the soaking wet in Miami. Oh, a bit of a slide there as we come across the line to begin the lap, but we do keep it together, thankfully. Completely missed the apex into turn one, but what are you going to do? All over. This really slippery, this track, when it's raining like this, as you'd expect. Not really too rubbered in either with the rain. So yeah, it's gonna be a tricky qualifying session, this one, but I have faith that we can get some good times to go purple through sector one. But of course, it's a very early lap, so coming across the line to finish our first flyer, and for now it's a P2, just 4 tenths behind Verstappen. Back out on the track then, slipping and sliding everywhere as we bump it over the curb. And we're just about improving. I reckon if we can get a good exit here, we should be able to find a few tenths and hopefully... Ooh, a bit of a slide there, but yep, we are improving. It looks like you can see the delta coming down, and hopefully as we come around the last corner, get a good exit, we'll be able to improve on this lap. But what's it going to be? On the brakes, into the green on the delta, that's good to see. Oh, never mind, into the red, a bit all over the place, up and down. A tenth up then on the exit, the final corner. Can we hold it? Yes, we can. 2 tenths up as we cross the line, and that's P4 for now then. Briefly went out on the inters because it looked like it was drying up, but everybody else was still on the wets. So ultimately I didn't do a lap on the inters in the end, but yeah, Q1 done. P8 into Q2 we go. We lose Lance Stroll, Tsunoda, Vettel, Latifi and Schwartzman from this session. AlphaTauri having a terrible season too, hey. Anyway, back to us, and we are coming around the last corner. Green everywhere so far, and we are going to set a time of 140.3 to put us into P9. So not the best, not the worst. We obviously want to make sure we get into Q3, so we've gone back round again, charged the battery, and we're going for a second lap. What can we do? Can we get ourselves comfortably into Q3? Almost a tenth up we were into the braking zone there. We are saving a lot of time. Obviously on the inters now the track's drying up, so the track is getting much quicker. And as we come through the little snaky section, we're nearly a second up on our previous time, so certainly looking good for getting us into Q3. We may even have time to go again at the end of the session and hopefully improve even more, because the track, this improvement is certainly not just skill, it's mostly track improvement. So yeah, it's looking good for us. 1.2 seconds is the improvement so far. Can we get a little bit more out of it as we go to the last corner? Yes, we can. 1.3, 1.4. If we can hold this together, it's going to be a mega improvement as we cross over the line. Look at that. Fastest so far. Is it going to be enough? No, it's not. All the way down in P14 as we go for another lap. And again, we've improved by 1.8 seconds. So it's a good job we left enough time for that, because the track is improving so much. We would have snookered ourselves if we didn't leave enough time. But 2 seconds improvement It's going to be enough to get us into Q3, I think. Yeah, second place. Perfect. Sergio Perez just ahead of us and Max Verstappen just behind us. So really on pace with the Red Bulls at the moment, but we're going to lose Charles Leclerc, Mick Schumacher, Kevin Magnussen, Fernando Alonso and Alex Albon from Q2. And it's an interesting top 10. I would have thought that Max would have been up there, to be honest, but I'm sure he'll pull it out of the bag in Q3 as we go out onto the track and it's bone dry. So, of course, back onto the soft tyres. Currently,
yes, you've just put in the
first.
fastest lap. Good job.
Not going to be good enough, though, of course. Everybody's going to go out, everybody's going to set new times and improve, as are we, as we head into turn 1. In the green so far, which is always good to see. And off we go. A good couple of tenths saved. 4 tenths saved in turn 1 and 2. So, yeah, track again is evolving and we're getting a bit more comfortable now that we're on the dry tyres. A bit of a moment there, but we keep it together. Couple of little corrections, but so far, very, very happy with this one. Second up on our Delta so far.
Okay, someone's just posted a faster time. That drops you down to the 4th row, P7.
Currently P9, as my engineer tells me about our P7, so everybody else is out there setting better and better times, and that leaves us down at the bottom of this Q3 session. However, pretty confident at the moment, if we can hold this lap together, we'll be able to get up there and get ourselves maybe on the front row. We'll see. On to the big long back straight. Good exit. Purple sector 2. We'll take that. Into the last corner then, and so far almost 2 seconds of improvement. So what can we do as we come across the line? P1 maybe? I don't think so. Yeah, not quite. P2 though, that's a front row start, and I'll take that. Absolutely, we'll take that after the terrible race we had last season. So that puts Max Verstappen and myself on the front row, Sergio Perez and Daniel Ricciardo on the second row, Lando Norris, Carlos Sainz, George Russell, Pierre Gasly, our teammate Ocon, and Lewis Hamilton closes out the top 10 in the Mercedes. This is going to be a fun race, I think.
Welcome to the Magic City. We're here at the Miami International Autodrome, the home of the Hard Rock Stadium, a multi-purpose sports and entertainment hub which has hosted Super Bowls, Baseball World Series, numerous rock concerts, and now, for the first time, Formula One. Well, it's certainly not sunny here in the Sunshine State. A lap of the Miami Grand Prix features 19 corners and 3.36 miles of track around the Hard Rock Stadium. But these conditions should prove especially difficult for all of our drivers today. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position, and Marshall completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Perez, Ricciardo, Lando Norris and Sainz, Russell, Gasly, Hamilton and Charles Leclerc, Mick Schumacher, Magnussen, Fernando Alonso and Albon, Stroll, Tsunoda, Sebastian Vettel and Nicolas Latifi, Ocon and Robert Schwartzman. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today. And I'm joined once again by Anthony Davidson to bring you the lowdown for today's race. Now I want to ask you about Esteban Ocon. As ever, the threat of unreliability is never far away, and indeed they'll be starting out of position today due to power unit component changes. It's going to be a difficult task to move forward from there.
Everyone has to deal with penalties or reliability issues from time to time throughout their career. You just have to suck up the pain and get on with the job at hand. Today isn't about performing a miracle to put the car back where it should be. It's about effective damage limitation.
Okay, how was that pull away? You'll have a bit more grip than that on the start, but we need to warm the tyres properly now. Make sure you get some heat into the brakes as well.
And the rain is back as we proceed with the formation lap. Inters are going to be the order of the day. I reckon by the forecast it should dry out a little bit later on, but we shall see as we pull up to P2 on the grid, just next to Max Verstappen. Hopefully we can get a decent start, maybe even jump him into turn 1. We sort of pointed ourselves towards him, but let's see what we can do as we wait for the 5 red lights. And we're underway in Miami for the Grand Prix. A very snaky start for us as we sort of wiggle the car across the track and into turn 1. And who is that? One of the Ferraris diving up the inside, hasn't quite made it work, found himself boxed between us and Verstappen. That's Ricciardo going for the move, as you would expect. Has jumped Perez off the start though, so that's a really good start for the Ferrari driver. And now it's ourselves chasing after Max Verstappen. But Sergio Perez got Carlos Sainz hot on his heels, and look at that. A bit of a train there at the start of the race. Is Lando Norris also getting involved a little bit in that? I wonder if Carlos Sainz can find himself making a move here as we come down into this DRS zone. Obviously no DRS in the wet, but at the end of it, he might be able to just get a bit later on the brakes, dive up the inside. We shall see. As we look back at Mercedes driver George Russell, had a terrible time out in Imola last time, retiring from the sprint race. But who's this? Kevin Magnussen down the inside, not only on Mick Schumacher, his former teammate, but also Charles Leclerc. But I think Charles Leclerc is going to come out on top of this one, and they're side by side, Mick Schumacher and Kevin Magnussen. But it looks like Magnussen, yep, is going to take that position. Got himself up into P11 there as we get onto the back straight, going faster than Max Verstappen through Sector 2. That's always encouraging. And yeah, taking that slipstream, making the most of it, and hopefully trying to close the gap a little bit. But here's Lando Norris. What's he up to on lap 2? Bit of a train forming, isn't there? There's like a good half a second gap between pretty much all of the cars at the moment. You can see myself and Max are starting to pull away. More than a second between me and Daniel Ricciardo. So that's encouraging. It just leaves us, hopefully, if we can keep going, to be able to focus on just racing Max and not having to worry about the cars behind. But here we are then, very close to Max, nearly losing it there, having to do a little last minute correction. But purple in Sector 1, only green in Sector 2, but this could be on for a fastest lap. Let's see. As we move on to lap 3, this will be a fastest lap. Are we going to go for a move? We thought about it, but we think again, and don't lose too much time as we move back to the racing line. And yeah.
10 minutes left of this rain, then we think it's going to dry up. 10 minutes.
Good news from the engineer then. The rain is set to go away, so hopefully we can make the most of that as we head on to lap 4. Every single time down this back straight, we seem to be getting really, really close to Max as we lose the back end slightly. We're getting super close to Max on the straight, but we just can't get close enough to really make a move at the moment, and I don't want to do a risky move to risk ruining my race as we nearly go into the back of him. Who is this? Daniel Ricciardo. Into turn 1, Sergio Perez is going to have a little look up the inside as Ricciardo locks up, but he's sorted himself out just about quick enough to maintain his position. And of course that's going to help us, because now look at that gap, 5.5 seconds between Daniel Ricciardo and me. That means it's just me and Max up there, and if we can put the pressure on, I reckon we can get the lead of this race. So we will do so. A big train. I mean, if we had DRS, it would be a DRS train, but it's not. It's just a train at the moment. So yeah, big train forming in the midfield, sort of from P3 downwards. But here we are. We've got a yellow flag.
Okay, be aware, there's an incident in the next part of the track. No overtaking through the yellow flag.
Sebastian Vettel retiring then with a mechanical failure, as I said, in Imola. Just not having a good season in that AlphaTauri, and AlphaTauri as a team just not really having a good time after Gasly left. So not ideal. You don't really like to see it, but it is what it is. Here's what happened to Vettel. He's just coming around the last corner, and I think his engine gave up. Yep, there he is, just going slow. And he pulls over to the side of the track, as we saw when we came past. Back on board with us, and we are still chasing Max and still nearly crashing into the back of his gearbox. But it is what it is. Hopefully we can make a move soon, because this will be costing us. Well, I say it'd be costing us, but that gap has got even bigger to Perez, who has got past Ricciardo. And that's never something we want to hear, but that gap being 6 seconds, he's got past Ricciardo and is now 2 seconds ahead of Ricciardo. So obviously in the Red Bull, he's got a ton of pace that he can use. Max getting a little bit shaky on the way out of that bend, but I don't think it's going to be the lap that we make a move. If I'm being honest, just waiting for some news on whether this issue is terminal, or fingers crossed, just something an ERS issue or something. We shall see.
Okay, looks like a mechanical failure. We're going to have to ask you to find a safe spot to retire. Sorry about that, mate. Okay, this is serious. We need you to retire as soon as possible.
The durability of the Renault engine strikes again. I say the engine, the gearbox on this occasion has failed, even though it was brand new this weekend, and we're out the Grand Prix. That is a kicker. Not ideal, but of course, it is what it is. I'm sure Max will have his fair share of DNFs over the season, at least we hope. But yeah, not a good one in Miami. Again, second race in 2 seasons that we've not had a good time in Miami. At least this time we had the pace to challenge, but
It was
yeah,
a magnificent race
not good.
and a drive right out of the top draw to take the win for Red Bull today. And talk to me. What do you think it was that sealed the win for them?
It's a heroic effort for any drivers who race in conditions like these, and seeing them fight their way to the front was very special indeed. They were able to find all the grip, all the good lines, and had the confidence to get on the power to top it all off. That's what pushed them into first place here today.
Here come today's winners. The team at Red Bull have done a phenomenal job recently, and it's clear to see that they've put in the work, and they should be so proud of the victory they've secured here.
It hurts when you're doing well and that happens. When you're sort of in the midfield, it's less of an issue, but yeah, when you're up there fighting for the win, which I think when it dried up, I think we had a really good chance, especially if it dried up soon enough that that everybody would have gone on to hards, because we just had the pace over the Red Bull on the hard tyres. But it is what it is. We can hopefully fix that, learn from it and move on, and we may well just be looking at investing some resource points in durability. We'll see. We've done a few already, but maybe we need to put more of a focus there. But we need to balance it all, because if we don't keep the car quick, we won't be fighting for wins in the first place. But yeah, Max Verstappen winning then, Sergio Perez in second, and Lando Norris on the podium, which means we are no longer leading the championship. It's unfortunate, but it was inevitable. I think we were going to get a DNF at some point, and of course Max capitalised on that to push himself all the way up into P1. He was in P3, I think, in the championship before, so good effort by Max and ourselves in P2 in the championship. I have hope, though, that we can turn this around, get the old durability upgrades on the go, and come back strong. We've got plenty of engine components, and as we head into Spain, we should be in good shape. So join me for that one. If you like this video, leave us a like, leave us a little comment, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you for the next one.